Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, a 15 plus Reckless Amoeba podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-host, Brandon Balinger.
Russia sushi is still for sale. Will you like come?
It's cheap, it's good.
It's cheap, it's good, better than fight.
Oh, Russia sushi.
Is it sad that I kind of want to go there?
Yes,
Get myself a cheese sushi platter?
kind of. Although cheese sushi does half sound good because I do know they have egg sushi.
Well, my question would be, does it just replace the fish with cheese? Or is it just like cheese is added as a topping to it?
Well, it's Russian, so I'm not sure if fish and cheese
Is it sushi, but is it fondue dipped sushi?
And my other co-host, Ryan Stokely. What do you think of fondue dip sushi?
They're eating her. And then they're gonna eat me.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Clearly we're back in Milbog. And he's still going. Damn, that lung capacity.
Hi. I'm Ryan Stokely and I approve this message.
Oh god. Oh, that's right. That shit's happening again. Ugh.
Lois Griffin
for
is a
multiple
whore.
reasons.
Lois Griffin is a whore. Hi, I'm Peter
Oh.
Griffin. I approve this message.
Speaking about
9/11
happening
looked bad.
again, guess what's being remade? What
Uh-oh.
anime we covered is being remade?
I feel like I should know this, but I don't.
Higurashi.
Wow. How did I not hear about this?
I just heard about it a few days ago myself. I'm not too sure what percentage of the 2006 cast is being.
I'm not against a full recasting, so long as it's a full recasting. I don't feel like you should mix new and old.
Even
I'm still
somebody like one episode exclusive characters.
I mean, I guess I want to say I'm thinking of the main cast would be what I would not replace, or would not replace. Would have to be full on or not at all. As for like any side or like minor one episode characters, whatever. Honestly, you could probably take whoever you're replacing and just say like, hey, just do a different voice for this character, because for all you know, it's going to be like a couple of lines and that's it. Like Rena's mom, she's barely in it, and she's only in that one episode. Or I should say her stepmom.
The article isn't in front of me at the moment, but I believe it was supposed to be out soon, but the coronavirus tied it back a few months.
I'm not surprised. I mean, at least with them, usually they can probably work from home. Most of them, I would say. Especially if they've got like drawing tablets and stuff there, because it's probably digital now compared to like the 2006, where it was probably just barely digital, if at all. Whereas your voice actors, you might need them in a sound booth, maybe, unless they've got a setup at home, which is possible.
So hopefully that might be out September, October, maybe.
That's not too far away then.
Well, there is a trailer on Funimation from about a week ago.
Oh, there we
Fall 2020.
That's not
Nice.
too bad.
Yep,
I'd be curious.
it's Higurashi When They Cry new.
Do we know how many episodes it has, or no?
Not at this time.
Okay. I'm curious if
Um,
it's an OVA series or not.
I forget the Japanese name of it, but it adds the English word new at the end of it to differentiate.
I'm surprised they wouldn't. Well, I mean, they could, but I would have said you could just add the year too, because that's what I feel like a lot of people would just do, like Thundercats 2011, right? Like most people just add that to differentiate it that it's a different year.
What I would like to see is the quote unquote sequel series. I think it's called When the Seagulls Cry, about like a murder mystery at a beach resort.
But I mean, is that I forget? Is that the same cast? Because you brought it up before.
No, it's the same.
Same world, different people.
Yeah, it's the same visual novel studio. It supposedly has the same question answer story arcs to it, so
Hmm.
it feels similar in storytelling, but completely new cast, completely new location.
I just don't know how well that would go over because I know people are really attached to those characters. That's the only thing. It's hard to do an anthology like that when you've got multiple. I forget if Higurashi is technically multiple seasons or not. Um, but I feel like it's hard once you've spent all that time with those characters to really like push away from them and start a new one.
So
Mhm.
that's my end of the kaleidoscope of events. Any Final Fantasy VII stuff happening, Brandon?
I haven't gotten back to it yet. I haven't really had a chance to play much with it. I've honestly, I want to get back to it, but the thing is, I've been stuck on other shit right now. Um, One of which has been because work is currently not exactly filling up my life at the moment. It's been slow. I've been playing Legends of Runeterra lately. There,
Oh, nice.
and that shit. Like I've never been one for MOBAs. I don't care for LOL or League of Legends or Dota all that much. I just don't like the gameplay. The character designs are cool. I'll give them that, but it's never been my bread and butter or anything like that. But playing the card game is fun as shit. Like that card game is great. Unlike Hearthstone, you've actually got some back and forth mechanics going on here. Whereas Hearthstone's just like the best you get is, hey, I'll lay a trap, and the opponent essentially decides when the trap goes off. I have no way of controlling that.
Ooh.
Like, let's say the trap is like, oh, hey, you play the first time you play a minion, or the first time you play like a certain cost minion. So think of it kind of like Magic the Gathering, Brandon. You've done that one, I know.
And
So,
Orion.
and yeah, I mean, but Orion's also probably played this from the sound of it, so he knows.
I played Hearthstone.
Yeah, close enough. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Like you'll play a trap, right? And it'll be, hey, the first 4 mana cost minion that the opponent plays this turn is going to take this much damage. It's shit that you, when you play that trap, have no control over. You just assume and try to like outthink the opponent on when they'll play that, or hope to God that it's what you think they're going to play. Whereas in this game, it's like your turns are called rounds. And your round is like you start with mana, somebody starts first, and generally when the person that starts first goes, it's considered their round. And from there, every time a card is played, unless it's like a specifically quick styled, like a quick spell, the opponent has a chance to react to it. Like
Okay.
they can, like if somebody plays a spell, the opponent has a chance to react with their own spell. If somebody plays a minion, the opponent can then play their minion. And you have like 3 different levels of spells. You have like the slow spell, which is basically that's your part of the round. That's your turn within that round. You have your fast spell, which is the opponent has a chance to react to it, but you can still play other cards afterward. Or the burst spell, which is the opponent cannot react to this at all, and you can still play stuff after playing it. And then you have all of your minions, which are like little, 1, 2, 3 mana cost minions or whatever. The interesting bit about this is that you also have an extra mana slot where it's like you start off with your regular 10 or your regular 1, 2 per whatever round it is. And then anything extra drops down into that spell mana pool, which is 3 extra mana specifically for spells only. And when you play a spell, it takes from there first. So technically you could have 13 mana total by the time you work your way up to 10 for your regular mana, and 3 of which is specifically for spells. So between that interactivity and that back and forth, it gets real interesting. The other bit is I like some of these keywords that they put into this one. Like Hearthstone has like battle cry and stuff, right? Where like the first time you play it, it triggers a thing. This has something similar, but there's also one that I really have been having fun with, which is called Plunder, where like if you've damaged the enemy's, they call it the Nexus, but think of it like life points essentially from Yu-Gi-Oh. The minute you damage that and you play something after that, you can trigger Plunder effects, which are fucking great. I love those. Those are great. They're so good. Like there's literally, what is it? It's called Riptide Rex. It's got 7 attack, 4 health. It costs 8 mana, but it has a Plunder ability, which is like activate 7 cannon barrages that target randomly on the opponent's side of the board.
Ooh.
Damn.
And each of those cannon barrages does 2 damage to a minion, and if it can't target a minion, it'll target the enemy Nexus and do 1 damage instead to the Nexus.
How much health do you have?
You each start with 20 health
Okay.
in your Nexus. But because of the back and forth mentality, it makes it real hard to get to that Nexus sometimes without either a direct spell or just a really strong minion to get over other minions.
Is this on Steam?
It is on mobile. And I believe Riot has their own client that you can go to get it.
You gotta download the Riot thing, and I think you have to like download League of Legends to play it or something.
I'm not sure about the League of Legends things, but like I said, you could just get it on mobile if you want to, because that's where I've been playing it, because it's work.
Mm-hmm.
I can't exactly bring my PC in there, and downloading it on that PC is probably going to be a big no-no.
Yeah.
But yes, I've been having a shit ton of fun with that. The only other thing I've been playing lately has been Minecraft, and that's just because of that new update still. But I do intend to get back to Final Fantasy VII at some point. Hopefully soon.
And I forgot this during my chunk, but I've been playing a really interesting and getting to the point of frustrating puzzle game, Baba Is You.
Oh, is it frustrating now?
It was fun, but maybe, again, if you're playing with me, or if I had other people playing with me, they would be like, oh, why don't you try this? Because it's basically logic and Sokuban combined, where you, for example, one of the rules that can potentially be in a puzzle is wall is stop. You push away one of the words, and then wall is not stop. You can walk through walls. Or if you push the word wall into the spot where Baba is, you are now the walls.
You're not Zawalzo, huh?
For example, or you can make Baba win and complete the level. But just the fact that some of the words are against walls and I can only push them, I can't pull them, how do I get them into the areas where I need them to be?
So I have a question.
Yes.
It's less about the like mechanics of the game. I'm more curious on that title. Do you know if the title has like a definition?
Bob is the name of the sheep, and is
okay. It's a sheep. Okay.
And Is You appears in every puzzle, mostly with Baba. So Baba is you.
Okay, I was wondering because there is this what is it called? There's this song, right? And it's something that was out of Civ 6. But it's a song that, as far as I'm aware, at least, it starts out, it's a prayer, but they've turned it into a song, and it's a Swahili song called Baba Yetu. And Baba, essentially, it's God. So I'm like, is this like a Swahili kind of title where, God is you? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
I was just curious if there was like some kind of deep, crazy philosophical bullshit going on, like the witness seems to want to put in there.
No. Maybe we want to play this sometime down the line once I get far enough into the game, since I think there's 200 puzzles. Ish?
So nowhere near as much as The Witness,
No,
but
no, no,
just
no,
as
no, no.
frustrating from the sound of it.
No, 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 no. But I think I'm on world 6 of I don't know how many, and they're getting complicated.
Mm-hmm. As
Yeah,
puzzles tend to do.
I'll have to show you it sometime down the line. Ryan, anything from you?
I didn't have internet for a while,
Oh, that's your.
but
Everybody loves Comcast.
I realized I could have fixed it. There's like an outlet in my garage that apparently like stuff's plugged into. I had no idea. And all I had to do was hit like the little red reset button on the outlet.
So what? You blew a fuse or something?
It tripped so I wouldn't blow a fuse.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I had no idea that was there. But the guy showed me. The guy was really nice that came. But yeah, I did get mobile data, and with that I watched Ju-on Origins on Netflix.
Ooh.
The Grudge. It's creepy. It wasn't that scary, but it was really good. It was English dub, but very good. I recommend to watch. I watched Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay.
I watched like the first episode about a guy like falling through a roof and disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other episode, it was a UFO
Mm-hmm.
that a bunch of people saw around Maine, I think it was. And apparently it like picked a couple of the kids up. They were like interviewing them as adults. So I mean, it was pretty weird without Robert Stack, and also like normally Unsolved Mysteries had like 4 stories in one episode in like half an hour, and this is like 50-minute episodes, like between like 40 to 50 minutes, and it's just one story. So like some of it's kind of padded with like background stuff you don't really need to know, but
Mm-hmm.
all in all, it was pretty good. And I think it was like they started filming in like 2014, I think, because the UFO episode I watched, they like pull out a newspaper that remember when the Navy came out and shared that video of them like finding a flying saucer or UFO
Mm-hmm.
like on their tracking thing. That was in the newspaper, and they're like, "Yeah, this is from yesterday's paper," and it was like 2014 or something like that. So they started filming this like 6 years, like almost 7 years ago.
Hmm.
It's freaking nuts, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Interesting.
Watch that. So that led me to watch the original Unsolved Mysteries on Amazon Prime,
The
and also
rabbit hole gets deeper, huh?
yeah, uh, Tubi. If you guys ever use that,
I've heard of it.
it's a free streaming app, but they have MXC on there, so I think they have like maybe 20 or 30 episodes of it. But yeah, I watched some of that too.
I've
It was good.
one episode is quote unquote banned because it has so much Ultraman costumes due to it
True.
being a Halloween special or something like
Uh,
and America doesn't have the rights to show Ultraman costumes, so I think that is out of rotation
huh.
because I have it on DVD and that episode
Oh, really?
is severely edited down.
You have like a box set of them?
I have season 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they had those on like a box set. That's pretty sweet.
Yep, I think 4 and 5 were released together, and season 6 was never released.
Hmm.
But we've been talking
Yeah.
almost 25 minutes before editing.
That's fine. The other podcasts go way longer.
Yeah.
In some cases, the entire podcast is banter.
Yes, or random musings. Watch those. So, Ryan, Durarara.
Do rah 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 rah.
I'll give you this hint, all right? That is an automatopoeia.
That technically was not the inspiration for this. Although it may have something to do with the onomatopoeia, it wasn't named this because of the onomatopoeia.
That's not to say that the automatopoeia doesn't exist within the show, though.
Correct.
Wait.
So for those who don't know, and Orion, you may or may not be part of this, I don't know. Onomatopoeia is like the written down sound effect. So like bap, wham, zoom from like comic books and shit. That kind of thing.
Yeah. I immediately just thought of like cheerleaders because of the rah 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 part.
See, I wanted to make sure there was no confusion on that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that. About cheerleaders.
Hey, they have sports anime? Why not cheerleading anime?
I mean,
Yeah.
I can say this. There's cheerleading in anime. It's just generally a side thing. It's not the main thing. But hey, maybe this one's different.
Yeah, like the cheerleader squads are like actually like crime fighters or something.
Actually, hold on. Now I'm curious. Are there actually like cheerleaders in Japan?
I don't think so.
Like,
I'm pretty sure
in the
that's
American sense, at least.
I honestly I doubt it because I think cheerleading like became a thing when football. Yeah, cheerleading like was there to entertain the fans during plays.
So then why am I there watching football?
So maybe.
I don't know.
Wait, does rugby have cheerleading?
No.
So it's a purely American football thing. Interesting. I hadn't actually considered that.
But if rugby has cheerleaders and Japan plays rugby, maybe they have rugby cheerleaders in Japan?
But then my question is, why hasn't cheerleading made it to other sports? Does it mean that American football is just that uninteresting?
NBA has cheerleaders.
Really? I didn't know that.
Rugby has dance troops.
Ah.
Interesting. Well, hey, look, I'd rather be there to watch dancing. All right, you want to
Yeah.
show me some cool like street dancing and shit? Give me that. I'm all over it.
Put a piece of cardboard down, do some head spinning.
Yeah, get some guy beatboxing on the side.
Yeah, drop.
Look, I'm in.
Box down.
Can we just turn this into its own sport?
Might as well, dude.
Because I don't give a shit about the rugby going on.
Interrupting a rugby game with dancing sport. See how long before you get the shit beat out of you by like
the
50
entire team
dudes.
just tackles you to the ground.
Now that we're mentioning cheerleaders, I just remembered in Dorohedoro, Abby in the shark costume.
There's mascots. Mascots tend to be around for all of them, for most of them, if not all of the sports. But it's never cheerleaders.
Okay.
Sorry, we've gone on a tangent. Anyway, Orion, back to the story.
or are you done, Orion?
No, about
it's like cheerleaders fighting crime. That's where you left off.
Yeah, maybe some secret stuff going on. Almost like a Sailor Moon type thing, but with cheerleaders.
Anything else you want to add in there?
Nah, I think that's like the gist of it.
So what it sounds like to me then is what you've just described is essentially like a high school version of Totally Spies.
Oh yeah, I forget. Wait,
Weren't they in high school?
They were in college, at least in the American version. I don't know if that's the same case
I don't even
in the Canadian or French or whatever.
Wow, dude.
Except they were like spies. They weren't.
I forgot
like,
I watched this show.
Oh yeah, and as insane as it is, there's like a fetish count in that show.
Oh wow.
Like, how can we get the girls into this fetishized situation? Oh cool, there's a furry episode. Oh, there's multiple furry episodes.
I know YouTuber Saber Spark has an entire episode on Totally Spy Fetish episodes.
Oh, yep, I've seen it. And it kind of blows my mind that I never noticed that at the time.
But Durarara is a drama action horror? Would you say
Oh, so it's like,
light horror elements?
wait a second.
It has got like a weird combination going
Just
on.
Scooby Doo laughing? Is that what this is?
Kind of, but what does Wikipedia define it as? Action, suspense, urban fantasy.
Fantasy is definitely accurate.
Yes, because there is a headless horsewoman who drives a motorcycle.
Yep,
Hence the onomatopoeia.
yep, for the motorcycle.
There is a whole cast of characters in this that all interweave around the city, like the Russian guy who works at a sushi restaurant. There is a guy who dresses like a bartender who has an insane amount of strength when he's angry.
To be fair, I think that his job, he's dressed like a bartender, but if I remember right, his actual job is like he's the muscle when somebody doesn't pay up.
And he's intelligent, but like the Hulk, the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets.
A little bit. I mean, you're introduced to him by him tossing a vending machine at somebody.
And I got to the end where he uses a highway sign like an axe.
Mm-hmm. How'd you like that scene?
Oh my god, that was glorious.
I said he must have been sharpening that because holy shit, does that cut clean?
Oh my god, yes. Shizuo is, I would say, my favorite character.
Shizu-chan is great. Yes, there are some very interesting characters in here besides the headless horsewoman, Celti, who I'm going to assume is named after, like, you know, the fact that she's supposed to be a Celtic fairy.
Mm-hmm.
So Celti with a C.
Mm-hmm. And did you notice I think the word Lee motif, her music, her theme song?
Yes, it's got like bagpipes and shit in it.
I was reading into it because I'm like, this one section sounds familiar. Oh, Daddy Boy.
Is it Oh Danny Boy?
Yes, there is hints of Oh Danny Boy mixed in with her theme.
I didn't notice that. That makes sense though as to why it's kind of got like a sad feel to it though.
Yeah.
She's in search of her head, by the way, Orion. As a Dualahan is headless, but their head lives kind of like separately from them, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Like the head is alive and it talks and shit. It's just not connected to the body.
Huh.
And,
So she communicates with a cell phone and texts.
And one thing I was wondering, her cell phone has English lettering on it, or Western lettering. How did she convert that to kanji?
I'm sure that there's a not a program, but I'm sure that's an option.
Okay, because I'm just wondering, with everybody typing on what I assume to be like normal keyboards, because I thought somebody's keyboard at one point had QWERTY style on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's different style keyboards that have different buttons, but you can always change the inputs via the PC itself.
But we are just covering the first season of this anime. Technically the first series, since there was a 2010 series, and the second half was made about 5 years later, called Durarara times 2.
I'm still shocked that they got a second one. I didn't think it was big enough to get another season.
And what's interesting is this series, this first part, only comprises a quarter of the original light novels.
I'd also like to point out that you have never seen ×2 at all, and I know I've only seen like a little bit of the first half. Like I want to say the first 5 or 6 episodes. I ended up falling off just because of like other shit going on in real life, so I didn't get the chance to keep up with it. So I know a little bit of what happens there, but not much.
This is a 24 episode anime with 2 bonus episodes.
Shit, I wanted to watch those. I forgot to watch the bonus episodes.
Yeah, the Toonami broadcast put them in as episode 13 and 26, but they're not technically part of the main storyline. They do reference things that's happening around that time.
Then maybe I did see them, because I did watch the run on Adult Swim. That was where I first found this.
There was, well, technically 12 and a half was about a possible UFO invasion, and episode 25 was a search to find the best couple in Ikebukuro.
Okay, I think I've seen 12.5 or 13 in that regard. I don't think I remember at all 26.
Oh my god. Erica, who is best girl, she was like, oh, I know the best couple. It's Shizu-chan and Zaya.
Yeah, the 2 characters that absolutely hate each other. Well, maybe not Izaya hating Shizuo. I think there's like a weird, fucked up, fetishized relationship there in his head. But Shizuo just hates him. Just like every time. That's how we get introduced to Shizu. He's quite literally throwing a vending machine at Izaya.
Whilst just screaming his name with so much rage.
Just all this hatred. We even get to see when they first meet, and it's just, I don't like your face. That's it. That's as simple as it is.
Izaya!
Like, half the time, it's like, yeah, I'm not satisfied by this. I'm gonna go head over to, like, Shinjuku and just beat the shit out of Izaya.
Oh my.
We should mention that the city that this takes place in is Ikebukuro, which I believe is a subsection of Tokyo?
Yep, Ikebukuro is actually a real city in the Toshima part of Tokyo.
Alright, I thought so. Because I knew Shinjuku was. But Ikebukuro is one that I didn't recall off the top of my head. I remembered the name, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's a section of Tokyo, but I'm not sure.
This is mostly about a mysterious gang known as the Dollars, who really don't have a leader, and about, oh, did you hear? The Dollars may have did that. Oh, the Dollars wouldn't do that. The Dollars aren't into crime. How do you know that? Do you even know a dollar? Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah, it's like, the interesting part about this is it all starts off of like message boards from a few years prior to the series starting. And it became like an online gang at first that seems to like do shit in the real world. We should also point out that there are what they call color gangs running around. And those are like your regular gangs that have like they call them like the blue squares or the yellow scarves or like the red bandanas or some shit like that, right? And obviously they wear their colors on their sleeve. In some cases, quite literally. But we come in to this series a year after, what did they say? It's the blue squares and the yellow scarves who got into like a gang fight, which apparently got real bloody. And both sides disbanded, at least supposedly.
And we're going to, as usual, drop some potential spoilers. So, potential spoiler warning, since this tends to be more spoiler warning territory than a little bit normal.
It's true. It's kind of hard to talk about this without dropping just heavy spoilers on things. This is a series that does not handle non-spoilers well.
Yeah, because episodes like 11 and 18 have some pretty big reveals.
A lot.
And speaking about numbers, I'm just a little bit surprised that the first light novel, and in case you forget, light novel is text novel with some manga art, but primarily just typical books. The first 12 episodes is one light novel, while the second light novel comprises the next 5 episodes, and then the third one comprises the last 7. And they're all about the same length. So, for the second story arc, quote unquote, they must have cut out some.
There might have been, but it's hard to tell because it's edited together well enough. Like, it feels like it's edited together well enough to not really feel like it's missing anything.
Yeah, so
Like, there's no real
do
gaps.
12 episodes from one and only 5 from the second.
I wonder how much of it is like just action shots versus how much of it is just long character dialogue. Because that could be.
We could find out because all 13 have been translated into English and are available on Amazon.
We could if we would like to buy them.
There is also a currently running manga based on the light novel.
We should also point out that there's a girl running around with like a big scar around her neck.
Oh.
Forgot about that little detail. Because
Sure.
that gets real fucked up real fast. Oh my
I
God.
would say this is about interpersonal problems with people. I think like that's a main underlying thing because
That's definitely part of it.
all these people seem to have some kind of weirdness to them. Well, not everybody. Like, you have stalkers, you have yanderes, you have, like, weird... There's literally one guy who hits on anything with boobs.
Essentially. That's I think that's pretty much a self-quote at one point.
Straight.
I will say this, the Japanese toward the English is very close. The one thing, I have one tiny nitpick, and it's just because I find the word hilarious that they used in Japanese. So, at one point, they're describing one of the girls that they hang out with. It's Mikado and Masaomi. Masaomi is the one who hits on anything with boobs. Masaomi describes this girl that hangs out with them, her name's Henri, as, in the Japanese, he describes her as cute and erotic. Which, it almost feels like they should be mutually exclusive, but I can see where they can't be. But he eventually fuses those two words together to come up with the term erotic cute, which I find hilarious.
Well,
But in the English, we get the term boobalicious instead, which I feel is
delicious.
just not as good.
I don't know, man.
So, after this, you've seen it 3 times, Brandon, right?
Yes, the first time was on Toonami. I watched the Japanese dub at some point later on. I don't remember exactly when, and now watched the English dub again.
Wait, how many episodes are there?
There's 24. Plus,
Okay.
for the first season, there's 24.
Okay.
Plus the 2 bonus episodes that aren't part of the main story, but Toonami did show them.
Yeah, you said there were DVD only ones.
Yes.
At least until Toonami did it.
That's pretty cool. I
That's
guess.
the same as times 2 because there were 36 episodes with 3 bonus episodes that Toonami filtered into after each 12.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's that.
Should we talk about the Van Gang?
Oh,
The
the
Van
Van
Gang.
Gang.
There's like 4 people that hang around in a van all the time, and they got nicknamed the Van Gang. I don't know I forget if that's an official term or not for them. One of them is fucking Spike Spiegel, basically, from Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
2 of them are like hardcore otaku anime loving characters, Erica and Walker.
Erica, best girl.
I should also point out that there's a point where they like capture a kidnapper and then pull out a stack of manga that's called like fucking magical torture girl Kiaru or something stupid like that, and point out to him, hey, pick out any page in this manga, and we'll torture you in the way they do right in there. like, like the ludicrous thing in that sentence is hilarious, and I love it.
I think Erica would be perfect if it wasn't for her slight yaoi fetish.
Yeah, she has that. I mean, I don't mind it as long as she stops like trying to pair people. Even if Izaya and Shizuo is a hilarious concept in and of itself, because they just murder each other.
Yes.
Oh God, but yes, she's very much about the yaoi, about the boy love. And you've got I always forget the last guy's name because he feels so unimportant sometimes because he just doesn't have that much going on. But there's him, I guess. Like I said, I feel like he has so little going on. I remember his name starts with an N, but that's all I've got.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, it's the worst part. He's the one that's the most like non-rememberable character. Like, even if he is interesting, it's just I can't think of a reason to remember him because he's there, he does stuff, like he doesn't stand out compared to the other three.
He is not on TV tropes along with the Van Gang.
He's not even on TV tropes?
Not under main characters. There's Kadona, Erica, Walker, and then a heavy spoiler character from the second half.
Yeah, so yeah, he's so unrememberable, and it's sad because he does things, and he's still like he does some interesting and cool things. Like he beats people over the head with a bat at one point. He's the guy that owns the fucking van itself.
That got an anime spray paint at one point.
Yeah, well, no, they replaced it with an anime door.
Since Shizuo used the door as a riot shield.
Yeah, he like just ripped it off of the door, off the car, and then they let for whatever reason the van owner let them pick out what door it was, and then fucking Kadota's there, just like, you should have known this was gonna happen. You never should have let them pick.
Oh my god. Before we go into possibly heavier spoiler points, Ryan, do you want to ask any questions?
So these people, like, do they murder people? Is that what?
It's implied that some people have been murdered. Yeah, it's totally implied that people have died.
Okay.
There's literally a point where like we see the torture of a small child of like 14. Like a 14-year-old girl gets tortured at one point.
Damn.
Like, they smash her legs.
God.
Is it the dollars? Who knows?
Nobody knows.
I was gonna say it's definitely not the dollars. Like they are upfront about that one. That one's not even a question.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm aware, I think that's either before the dollars existed or before they got really big.
And
yeah.
And like, how many characters does this follow?
4 main, but we're jump around to a couple of side characters as we're going along too.
Which is interesting because each episode seems to have a different focal character.
Okay. That's
well,
cool.
and,
So you
and
kind
on
of like
top of that, they also mess around with like the way time works in this episode, in the episodes. For instance, they describe shit where they show shit where it's like you start the episode in the present time, but then like the rest of the episode is in the past leading up to that point, and that could be like days apart from when that shit happened.
The UFO bonus episode is told Memento style, where everything is like 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, I think all leading up to like 6 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
the reveal at the end of what everybody is seeing is hilarious.
Boy, aliens, that's a great way to kind of like lead into what we're going to be doing next on the video game front.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and for being a Doulahan, or headless horsewoman, Celty is terrified of aliens. To the level that is kind of adorable.
Wait, there's aliens in the show?
No, no, but whenever there's mention of aliens, she gets really scared.
It's true. Like there's a point, I forget whether they're watching a TV report, and she starts going into hysterics about like it could be an alien invasion or aliens are abducting people or shit.
Because for being a monster, she's surprisingly human.
There's a doctor she lives with, Shinra. He is an underground doctor, so he takes care of people that, you know, don't want to be seen by the law, essentially. But he's mentioned that before, where it's like ever since she has like lost her head, it means that she seems to be becoming more and more human. And apparently he's had a love affair with her for like 20 years, since he was 4.
What? Wait, how old was she?
She's a monster. She's a fairy. She doesn't age.
Oh, she doesn't age.
She's eternally looking like, I'm gonna say, a 25-year-old body because she doesn't have a head.
Yeah.
That's just weird.
I mean, when she doesn't have like the helmet on that she wears when she's riding the motorcycle to not freak people out that she's headless, she just has smoke puffing out of her neck.
Does she just like refuse to put her head back on, or
It's missing. She doesn't know where it's at.
but
That's
they
the whole
show
point for her,
that-
is that she's looking for it.
oh,
That's her goal, is to
Okay.
find where her head is at.
okay. I thought that they also showed her head.
Oh, they show it. We know where it is as an audience. She has
Uh-huh.
no idea.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Mhm. And there are some characters that actually know it's Celty's head.
Yep, they just won't tell her. Like
Wow.
Isaiah, an information broker, who is literally playing like 4D chess with the city gangs and people, like people in power.
And he has, I guess this is supposed to symbolize him playing 4D chess, but I think it's a chessboard set up with Go pieces. What's that Japanese
Shogi.
shogi, chess, and Go pieces all on the same board that he eventually lights on fire and starts flipping playing cards into it while laughing maniacally.
It's true.
So,
Hmm.
what game was he actually playing? Because his secretary at one point just looks and says, "How do you even play this game?"
To be honest, I honestly feel like it's just his way of like placing people closer, and like each piece represented a person, was my understanding of it. And it's just his way of like having a tactical layout of what he's doing. It doesn't make sense to anyone but him, but that was what he was doing from my understanding.
Okay. But
Because he does talk about like how when he's flipping the playing cards in there, like who's each card.
he is an asshole.
Oh yes, like you love every single character in here. Isaiah's the character you love to hate because
He would be
he's
the-
such a piece of shit.
He would be the closest thing we have in this series, or the first section, to be a villain.
Yeah, an overarching villain, because like he manipulates all of the different groups into fighting each other, and they have no idea he's the one pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And all he does is like let slip a piece of information here and there and shit.
He's just psyoping everybody.
Pretty much.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Like even to the point where people that know they can't trust him don't have an option but to trust him.
Okay.
Because like, what if what he's telling me is true? Then everything's really fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just go back to the point of stalkers and yanderes, because there is one
Yanderes.
character who is kind of in love with somebody. So
They got a little bit of an obsession
a little bit. So
to the point of picking the guy's, apartment door lock and getting in at night.
only to reveal he has a girlfriend already.
Salty's severed head.
Yep, Celty's severed head. So this guy is in love with Celty's severed head.
Which I don't think he even realizes has a body.
Right. So he's
also been in love with that head since he was like a child. So like 4 again.
because it has some magical ability that people fall in love with it.
I don't think that's the case, but I don't know what it is. I think it's just fucking mental problems kicking in or being developed. Sorry, we should one more thing before you go ahead. We should also point out that the head, for whatever reason, is like permanently asleep and inside a Futurama-esque glass jar.
So Shinji, the guy who's in love with the head, shoves the girl into the wall, supposedly killing her.
Oh yeah,
Wait.
kind of cracks her skull and she's bleeding, from what I understood.
You find out she's actually alive, and first heavy spoiler, got plastic surgery to look like Celty's head.
Yeah, and it was by his older sister who did it, who is apparently the head of a pharmaceutical industry and is doing a lot of shady bullshit.
Who is in love with her younger brother.
I don't know if it's full on like, I don't know if it's like romantic love in that case, or if it's obsessional, like I need to protect this person love, like overprotection. That's the word, like overprotective love. But yeah, she gives the girl the option of like, I can make you look like that head and he'll love you, and she's like, do it. So she doesn't tell her brother that it's the girl that was stalking him. He tells her that, she just used the body and slapped the head on top, and now the head's just fine and awake.
Does her head like eat anything?
No, like I said, her head, for whatever reason, is just asleep. Like, it doesn't wake up, it doesn't talk, it doesn't do anything.
Just in a jar.
It's just in a jar.
And since she's a Doulahan, I wouldn't expect she would need to eat.
Yeah, she is a fairy. She might be like the fate servants, where it's like, we don't need it, but, it's nice to enjoy a meal now and then.
And speaking about fate again, Celty is voiced by Kari Walgren, who voiced Saber.
Which we're clearly stalking through anime. Speaking of stalkers.
Because this is like the 8th anime we covered where she's a voice actress.
She's just very prominent, I guess. I've never really paid attention to like how often voice actors show up until I recognize the voice.
She's like the Billy West of anime.
Why not?
I should really just go back through all our episodes and make a list. Oh my God.
Shut up and take my money.
But there are a bunch of other twisted characters in here, each of them hiding something that may affect other characters.
Like we don't, God, we're getting into some bigger reveals here, but like we don't literally know until it happens in episode 12 that Mikado, the guy who just moved here, is in fact the original creator of the dollars. And we only get to figure that out because he sets up the guy's sister, the head of the pharmaceutical industry, who tried to like murder him.
And because the dollars has a lot of members, he says, hey, why don't we all meet up at this one place? So he goes to confront the pharmaceutical woman, and he whips out his phone, sends a text message to everybody in the dollars that says, anybody that does not look at their phone is the enemy. Do not attack, just stare menacingly. And you have thousands of people just looking around.
And staring down like the pharmaceutical FBI, essentially, because they're in black suits. And like the pharmaceutical leader herself. And she's just freaking out like, what the fuck? There's so many. What's going on?
And it was a huge reveal because it was not even implied that he was in charge of the dollars.
Yeah, there's almost nothing to give it away. Like, we get some bits and pieces of this message board that keeps popping up during the first season with these voices we don't recognize. And we find out that it's been a bunch of characters that we know. It's like 3 people at first. We figure out that they're people that we know by episode 12, and then in the last half of the season, they decide, hey, we're just going to give them the actual voices now of the people that we know who they are.
That's cool, I guess.
And
then you just watch them like conspire.
I found it interesting that Isaiah has a female avatar.
I mean, hey, the man doesn't want you to think he is who he said. You know, he doesn't want anything connecting him.
Right.
He's very good at hiding himself and what he's doing.
Got a fake OnlyFans, just using images, Google images, selling.
A lot of shit goes down with the first, and I know you don't like the term story arc when talking about this, Brandon, since some bleed over into others.
Yeah.
But going by the official Durarara wiki, when I say arcs, so have we covered...
I can go with story arc. I wouldn't go with character arc.
So are we good with the first story arc?
For the most part.
The shortest story arc for this one, granted, again, the not visual novel, the light novel is the same length, so the shortest anime arc deals with a slasher that's going around that appeared in the later half of the first story arc.
Yeah, it was set up as a thing prior. Like, I think that's actually what sparked the alien thing at first, was Celty seeing that on the news in like the first arc.
Right.
Is just like, oh my god, aliens, ah.
Oh, and she has cute pink pajamas she wears around the house.
I mean, it's just a button up and, you know, just some loose pants.
But
like Ralphie from Christmas Story. Rabbit.
What?
You guys freaking talking about pink pajamas. I'm just saying. I'm just trying, you know, to what am I trying to do? Related to something that I can visualize is all. All right, whatever. Could go on. Proceed.
Yeah, but
Proceed, peasant.
But there is a slasher going around that may or may not be part of the dollars, because although it's been revealed to the audience, Celty is also part of the dollars.
We should also mention that nobody knows that Mikado's the leader. That's in the dollars, at least. Like, nobody. The only people that know, I think, are Celty and Isaiah. I think they're the only ones that are actually aware that he's the leader at that point.
Isaiah knows everything.
I mean, when we got the reveal that Mikado was the leader, even he was like, I only half believed this was true. Like, he thought, like, it was there, but it's like, I don't know for sure, man. Look at this guy.
He's so innocent.
He's so stupid and gullible. Look at him. I can't believe this guy's the leader of the dollars.
Yeah. The second arc is about a slasher, and yeah, there's zombie kind of involved.
Which, you know, Shizuo just, in the end, starts beating the shit out.
Yes. the playground fight is amazing. With like hundreds of zombies attacking, and she's just like, oh man, this is gonna be fun.
And they're all zombies that love you.
That want to show you love by stabbing you with their knives.
So here's the best way to think of this, all right? Think of it as like a parasite. When somebody gets stabbed, they then become part of the hive mind that is the slasher. Like that's how this works. It's that weird and freaky. It's like a disease spreading. Topical, right?
We're also introduced to Shinra's father, the one who stole Celti's original head.
Wait,
Which-
so
Go on.
her original head?
Okay,
She has multiple heads?
original head was the bad thing.
Originally stole the head.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my bad for mixing up words.
No, it's alright. I was just curious. I thought I missed that she had multiple heads. Just double check. Alright,
He's
go ahead, sorry.
using a demonic blade.
Oh. Wait, does that make it so she can't reattach it even if she doesn't do
The
something?
terms
Or
that
is
were
the only
used-
way that
The terms that were used was that he severed the soul from the head. So that's my assumption as to why the head doesn't wake up, is that the soul isn't there. And that's why Celti can't like sense or find it herself. Because it's not attached to her anymore via the soul.
And during this arc, we find out Shinra, who is Celti's roommate slash potential boyfriend, knew the whole time his father was involved with her head going missing.
He didn't know the details, but he knew that his father was involved, and he didn't want to tell her because he was afraid that she would leave him.
So, second big reveal there.
big.
I'm trying not to avoid spoilers, but it's so hard to talk about this without revealing spoilers.
Like, the hardest part is that everything's so interconnected, which is one of the bigger themes in this too, is like just how interconnected things are between people, even if they don't know it.
Like, you get scenes from a few episodes ago in flashbacks in episodes like 10 later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, so that's what led up to this point from this perspective.
Like, it's such an interesting idea, and I'm surprised it hasn't been used again, because it's such a cool and interesting concept when you can pull it off correctly.
I think we forgot to mention Shy Girl Honoree.
I mentioned her a little bit when we were talking about the word boobalicious.
But
That's about it. Because she doesn't really do much in the first arc. She's
yeah,
just kind of there
she
being
is
friends.
kind of shy. She hangs around with Mikado and Misome, and she implies that she may have feelings for them both. Although Mikado kind of has a crush on her, she kind of likes him, but nothing is outright directly stated.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're. I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing. Like if it's ever outright stated at all. Like I said, I only saw part of season 3 or season 2.
Yeah, but big jump here, she is the slasher.
Well, not exactly.
Oh.
So here's what I don't really understand. And maybe this gets cleared up at some other point. So the slasher, we find out, is a completely separate girl who originally was being hit on by a teacher, and left, like got moved away from the school probably by her father because of that situation. But she had an obsession with the teacher. She loved the teacher. And the teacher was probably very likely taking advantage of that situation to, do as he liked. She somehow becomes the slasher, I don't know how, because ever since Henri was little, she's had that sword, which was pawned off in a pawn shop by Shinra's dad, and her father was the pawn shop owner. Well, Henri was abused as a child, and she made up this fake memory in her head that it was a really good life instead, but that obviously lie. Her mother took the sword, killed her father, and then killed herself. And then Henri caught the sword. And she's been holding onto that sword ever since. But she's never gone out of her way to kill anyone or anything like that. It's been this other one, which they were calling like the children of Saika, and Saika is obviously the blade. So when did that chick get stabbed by Saika and have a child, like, in her?
I am not.
That's what I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure, since it seems to have I can't think of the fraudulent term where, like, that one money scam where, pyramid scheme. It seems to be a pyramid scheme type of situation. If you stab with Psycha, you become a Psycha zombie. And if you, as a Psycha zombie, stab somebody else, they become a Psycha zombie too. So,
well, it's injecting like a whole separate personality into the person. Like, that personality only gets called up when Psycha, or the mother, quote unquote, of those zombies calls out to it.
So potentially, maybe the slasher, I forget her name, is like a second or third generation.
I don't know. Like I said, I just don't know when she got stabbed, because like I said, Henri's had that sword for how long, and it had to be recently that she was stabbed.
Maybe in the visual novel manga,
maybe that's part of what.
More.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it, because I didn't think about that fact until like the end of the series. Of like, wait a minute, we never got an answer as to when that chick was stabbed. At least not. Maybe it's said and I'm not remembering, but I, again, don't recall it ever being stated.
Yeah.
So I don't know when, if ever, like, we get an answer to that.
So that's another big thing. And with Henri being able to control all these Psycha zombies, she eventually dies down with all of the murders going on, so everything can go back to normal.
She re-stabs the Psycha girl that was controlling all the zombies and forcibly takes over.
Maybe it's a chain effect, so as long as you stab somebody, they will be under your control, but like any mother. No, but then how did she have...
Yeah, right, the mechanics are getting real muddled.
Yeah.
Like, that is something that's... I don't know. It could be because that one was something that Henri wasn't aware of happening somehow, and therefore she had no control, and because she didn't know who it was, she couldn't control that one in particular.
Maybe.
But once she found her, it's like, well, now that I know it's you, I'm going to take full-on control and never have to worry about this shit again.
So, out of our 4 main characters, we haven't talked about Mazomi that much.
Oh, good old Masaomi. He's not fucked up at all. He just loves hitting on girls. He's a regular high school kid.
Who has a potential girlfriend or ex-girlfriend in the hospital.
Remember that girl we said was tortured back in, like, the start of this? Before everything started?
Yeah.
That was Masaomi's girlfriend.
Oh. Okay.
And when we also find out that he's the leader of the Yellow Scarves, who disbanded back like a year ago. And he gets dragged back in.
To the war with the blue squares.
Well, in this case, it's the dollars now.
Right, because
Although they're framing it to make it look like, and I think Isaiah helps out with this, to make it look like the blue squares and the dollars are the same people.
right, because now that the blue squares disbanded and basically anybody can join the dollars, all you need to do is basically go to the website and say, hey, I'm a dollar now.
Well, people are passing out the password. That's why. Because the dollar started off as a website, and anyone who can access the website is a dollar. So once the password started getting passed around, all of a sudden everyone's a dollar.
So, and at this point, everybody is still in the dark about everybody else. So,
Mhm.
so the Black Rider, they may be part of the dollars. The Slasher, they may be part of the dollars. We need to stop everybody from taking over. Time for the Yellow Scarves to come back.
And how did they do that?
Well, they had been gathering for a while, I guess, after the dollars meetup, which there's a 6-month time skip between episode 12 and episode 13.
And that's
So-
so 1 through 12 is the first arc.
Yes.
Okay.
I think 13 through 16 through 18 is the slasher arc.
17.
Is it 17?
I'm pretty sure. Wait, 14, 15, 16. Yep, 17.
Okay, so 17, 13 through 17 is the slasher arc, and then the rest of it, 18 through 24 is the yellow squares, or the yellow scarves coming back.
The yellow squares.
I mixed up the two gangs together. They probably
they're
both want to
just,
kill me now.
There's just SpongeBob. They're just like in Times Square dressed as SpongeBob.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, with 12 and a half and 25 being standalone, slightly more comical episodes.
Wait, which ones are the
Uh,
comical?
12 and a half and 25, which were the DVD only episodes.
Oh, okay. 12 and a half, huh? Oh, so that one kind of explains what happens between, or it's just
It's just shenanigans. There's nothing,
Okay.
as far as I'm aware, that's of any plot importance.
okay.
Oh, and there is one funny bit where, trying to find the perfect couple, they see Mikado and Audrey walking around together, and they're like, oh, look at this lovely couple. And Mikado trying to explain that him and Audrey are just friends. Well, maybe more than that, but I need to check with her first. But if she doesn't want to be more, that's fine with me. And he gets so flustered for about a good minute and a half.
Yeah, because like these characters do seem to have problems with interpersonal like communication with each other when it comes to like the idea of like, hey, my problems are my problems. I don't want to put it on somebody else. And
So
by the end of the series, a lot of it is just like I should have told them that they needed to know.
and I'm not too sure if that comes along more in times 2, if people decide to open up more because of the events of season 1, or
Well, there are new characters in there, so they have their own problems. But as for the old ones, I'm not sure.
because we find out now Isaiah was the one who set up Masamomi's girlfriend to be injured.
We also should know that Masaomi's girlfriend is kind of religiously addicted to listening to Isaiah because Isaiah knows so much.
Even though Isaiah is a complete asshole.
But he knows everything. So he can't give you fake information if he knows it all.
He knows everything, but he knows too much is the thing. And
No, it's not that he knows too much, it's that he knows how to use that information to manipulate people.
yeah.
And she is completely blind to that, at least, until she gets her legs broken because of him.
And Masaomi just feels bad that he didn't go and save her. At the last second, he just froze and chickened out.
I wouldn't even say chicken out. He just froze. He couldn't keep running to her.
Bok, bok, bok.
Like, I'd say he was just
Yeah,
about there, and he just stood there frozen, unable to move. And he didn't understand why. And ever since that moment, he hasn't seen her, even in the hospital. Like, the closest he gets from what she has said is, like, being able to see him outside of her hospital room.
Well, there are parts where he does go and visit her, remember?
Yes, once we get to, episode 18 and on. But prior to that, all he does is get close enough to, like, see her window.
And he gives her the same remark he gives all girls that, hey, there's so many girls out there, maybe you're not the one for me. Oh, you idiot, you'll always come back to me.
Here's the interesting part. We only know that she that Isaiah is her legal guardian, but my God, her face and his look so similar. Like, I almost want to say they're related by blood.
Oh.
Like, I want to say, like, she's his cousin or something. Because the face looks really similar.
Oh. That would be interesting 4x2.
That's just a theory for me. I don't know if there's anything concrete to it. It's just the faces look very close.
Yeah. So, we actually find out that the Blue Squares, since disbanding, joined the Yellow Scarves because Masaomi quit being the leader, and the gang kind of became a, hey, you want to be in the Yellow Scarves? Throw on this yellow scarf and you're in.
To the point where one of these guys, Harada, who was the one who literally broke Masaomi's girlfriend's leg, has essentially become the second in command. Until he literally overthrows Masaomi and is like, I'm in charge now, bitch. We've been slowly replacing the people in your gang and you didn't even know it.
One hilarious thing about him, he always has the worst luck running into Shizuo, and Shizuo does not remember him every time they meet up, but Shizuo says, like, you piss me off, and just proceeds to do unspeakable amounts of strength onto this guy.
So much damage. Like, there's a point where he's just literally in, like, a collar brace around his neck because Shizuo's just beating the shit out of him. Like, he progressively gets more and more bandages on him because of Shizuo.
But just the sheer amount of strength via anger Shizuo displays, like, he uses lampposts as baseball bats.
By the way, how'd you enjoy the point where Shizuo gets shot by Harada?
Oh, I was like, wait, Shizuo got shot? And then I started laughing hysterically as he walks off the 3 bullet wounds.
Yeah, right? He just walks them off and it's like, hey, Doc, you think you can patch me up?
Shizuo, you've been shot. That's a lot of blood.
Yeah, whatever. Just clean me up.
Like,
I gotta go kill the guys that did this.
His entire one side is coated with blood. His, like, one eye is, like, dripping blood. He's like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. I just can't seem to walk as good. If you can patch me up, everything will be all cheeky. We'll be good.
I just want to watch times 2 to just see where his character goes.
I'll say this. We get a little bit of, like, mentioning about Shizuo having a younger brother, and we see that younger brother a little bit in some flashbacks of his. I remember that younger brother takes a bit more of a front seat in season 2.
And according to episode 25, 2 younger sisters.
That I didn't remember.
Who he doesn't seem to be... he doesn't seem to want any part of, because they show up in 25 and he's like, oh, it's you again.
I wonder if it's some kind of family issue. Because they said his family was never really there as children. It was just him and his brother. So I wonder if there was like a divorce or something.
Maybe? Because he does shove his sisters into an alley and just puts a vending machine in front of the alley so they can't escape. Except his one sister, they're twins, so... and they
Oh, okay. So they're the ones I saw when I was looking at the intros for part 3.
Yeah, they were only in, but one of them may seem to have semi-seizable strength because she backflips somebody away.
She backflips them away?
Yes, she was backflipping, like the handspring backflip, and she like kicks into somebody, knocking them into the sky.
All right. You know what? If it's hereditary, I can buy that. I can see that.
Oh, but back to like the main Yellow Scarf storyline. So near the end, like episode 23, everything comes to a head and everybody discovers who they all are. Like everybody...
Everyone in the main cast discovers that the other people that they didn't already know about are like leaders of different parts of this whole problem that they've had.
And in the end, Masaomi runs away, kind of, since he's hurt his friends so much, he doesn't really want to associate them.
Well,
so he runs off with his girlfriend to some unknown place, and
yeah, the last we see of them, they're on a train.
Episode 25 has them at some sort of resort?
Oh, does it?
I would...
Oh, that's the extra episode. That's right. I didn't see that. That's why.
Yeah, they're on some hotel balcony looking over the ocean or something.
Or does Masaomi have all this money? Or does the girlfriend have all the money?
I don't know. And at the very end, there's a new member of the main chat that's been going on throughout this entire thing. You find out it's Masaomi. He says he's fine and that people shouldn't worry about him, and he might come back one day.
I was going to say, do you think part of the reason he left is because Shizuo's still looking for him? Because he said he was going to call out the guy that asked for the hit, which Harada claimed was Masaomi.
Potentially.
Because Shizuo's probably still looking out to kill him.
Potentially. Oh, and one thing. Although you didn't see episode 12 and a half, there is 2, I would assume they're Americans, with Shogun hairpieces on, wearing like Japanese style robes, while
they were in the dollars in that they were in the dollars in episode 12. They were there. They were talking. They had like a couple line voice roll.
They are actually characters from the guy's previous work.
Which guy?
The maker of Durarara.
Oh, really? Huh.
And I was reading a little bit about his previous work, and I don't want to get into this much, but it takes place in the Prohibition era.
Huh.
So, there was like some magical elixir, they drank it, and now they are immortal.
What? That's stupid.
No?
That's stupid. I kind of love it, but it's stupid.
So, hey, somehow they're now in Japan and just hanging out.
I mean, hey, why not?
I
mean, the dollars started off as a website. How many people are like in the dollars that aren't in Japan, or even just Ikebukuro?
Hundreds of thousands, probably.
That's what I mean. Like, that shit could have spread so far.
It would be interesting if he would have made a spin-off about other countries, like the dollars in America.
The UK dollars.
Because I know there is a sequel series Durarara Shake Hands
Mm-hmm.
that takes place like 2 years after the grand finale of the light novels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if those have been translated yet.
Mm.
But with all the spoilers we were dropping, and it may take away some of the
And those that were
mystery
not.
of the
Well, I mean,
show.
they're here for that.
I'm sorry, I was what?
I said they're here for that. Like
Yeah,
that's kind of the point of this.
yeah,
You can't
but
really talk about it without dropping spoilers.
yeah. But Orion, would you have any interest in checking this out?
Honestly, you'll get the gimmick of the episode of the series within like the first 2 episodes. And if you don't like that, you probably won't like the series.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give it a shot. I'm still watching Baki and that.
And Cowboy Bebop?
I haven't watched any of that yet. I got
Yeah.
sucked into Baki and then like,
Yeah, you said you were distracted by Baki last time still.
yeah, I'm like episode 16 in the Baki.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know, man. It was great. And then,
It's kind of
Yeah.
fallen off.
yeah, like, I don't know.
Especially with Comcast issues.
Well, nah, because I downloaded episodes at my parents' house on my tablet.
Ah,
That's how I consume most of the any media at all.
awesome.
Like, but
Yeah, good thing your parents live relatively close.
yeah, but yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'd be really interested in watching season 2 sometime down the line.
Same. I'd like to pick it up since real life got in the way of me finishing it. I remember it feeling different than the first 2 seasons. I also remember that I didn't care for the intros to them either, and rewatching those intros, I still don't, because the tone.
Second theme of this first season is amazing.
They're both really, really good. I like them both a lot. I will say I think the second one's better, but not by much. They're all really good. Like I love how the fact, like, remember when we were talking about My Hero and how they were just kind of like slapping, or not My Hero, One Punch Man season 2, and how the intro is
Yeah.
just like we're slapping characters in here with their names.
Oh,
This one, there's good transition between each one.
makes sense.
Like you get the white lab coat of Shinra's dad, which transitions into the glint of a scalpel going into Shinra's lab coat pocket. Like the transition between the characters is beautiful in this, whereas in One Punch Man season 2 there was no transition. It's just like, oh, here they are. There's the name. Done. Next.
And I will admit one thing, I typically skip over the themes unless I know there's something important happening with
Oh, that's right.
the theme. Like if it will transition into a scene that is key or something like that. But for the second theme, I forget what it's called, but I did not skip over this for the entire 12 times it was on.
Well, the interesting part in this too is also that, like, in the middle of the intro, you're getting like the quick recap of the previous episode.
Yeah.
Like that's the other really interesting part, because you don't see that all that often.
And it's placed well.
Yes, it's placed really well. Like it doesn't feel like it's intruding at all.
So that's it for this episode. Come back with us next time when we create our own manga in hopes of making the world a better place.
Are you talking about Yu-Gi-Oh?
Easy breezy.
Easy.
No?
Nah, man, if we wanted to create our own card games, then we'd go there.
Okay.
Would they involve motorcycles?
Oh.
Only in filler. And in the
Yeah.
shitty, well, I shouldn't say shitty. Supposedly the content of 5Ds is really good. I just never got into it because I couldn't get past the motorcycles.
Card games on motorcycles!
Oh,
That's
God.
Badass.
Oh my god. So, catch everybody later.
See
Yeah.
yous.